have been some very interesting reports recently that some of the paramilitaries fighting US troops are surprisingly well armed with body armour, Kevlar helmets, capable of using very powerful long-range machine guns, weapons with a half a mile range. And this has been quite a surprise to the United States, in that there's clearly a capability developing in Afghanistan which is based on experience in Chechnya, Iraq and elsewhere. In response to that, as you would expect, as the whole business of insurgency and counterinsurgency becomes more dominant, the US military is investing in many different technologies. Obviously there's been a huge increase in the nature of armour applied to vehicles because of roadside bombs. There's been a very big increase in the use of drones, these armed drones. And there are a number of new developments in terms of precision-guided mortars, and even a new form of ammunition which basically is a fragmenting shell, very small scale, only about 2.5 centimetres in diameter, which again has a range of about 800 metres, half a mile, and actually explodes over the enemy positions, as they would use the term. All this is a very significant indication of the way in which, both on the side of the paramilitaries and on the side of Western forces such as the United States, there is very heavy development of new kinds of weaponry, very different from the Cold War era. I think this goes quite a long way to explain this extraordinary situation that world spending on the military has risen markedly in the last 10 years. Most people expected at the end of the Cold War that there would be what was called at one time a peace dividend. This just isn't happening. The new report from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, their yearbook of arms and disarmament, demonstrates this very strongly. And as far as one can see, you're seeing something like a 4 or 5% increase in real terms in military spending worldwide, comparing this year with last year. And if you take the last 10 years, an increase of the best part of 40%, even more for the United States. It's a reflection, I think, of the post-9/11 world. If you look over a 20-year period, that peace dividend not only did not happen, it's actually been reversed, and we're now in a stage of increasing militarization. I think it's part of a process, in a way, of responding to the undoubted violence of 9/11, primarily by military means, with major wars in Iraq and Afghanistan leading on to new forms of militarization. We're not really at the stage where we're going beyond this old thinking to look at the underlying reasons for this insecurity and trying to really tackle them at source. There may be changes with the Obama administration. It's still the early months of that administration, but for the moment, on the evidence of the CIPRI work, we're still stuck in the attitude of this is the way in which international security is best maintained, even though we're now stuck in a very difficult war in Afghanistan, Pakistan, with every sign of it escalating.